Hey everyone, and welcome to the Millennial Motivation Podcast with me, James Hackney. Let's get inspired and let's get motivated. Yes guys, it's the Millennial Motivation Podcast with me, James Hackney, and I would like to know first of all, what are your thoughts on this quote that I heard the other day? Poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Now, poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. And that's a quote that I heard by Jim Rohn the other day, who was a very famous motivational speaker a few years back. So yes, poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. So you may be thinking, so James, what you're trying to say is that by thinking poor, it's going to keep me poor? Pretty much, yeah. Your thinking habits and routines influence your daily habits and routines. Bit of a mouthful, but something to think about. But yeah, it's true. Us millennials, we and people in general, mainly millennials I would say, we have the craziest habits to influence our thinking throughout the day. Now, let me know, how familiar does this morning routine sound? When you wake up, think about how your day starts. Your alarm sounds after hitting the snooze button numerous times. You reach for the phone that's been waiting there all night. Most people do. It's right on the bedside table next to you, waiting patiently for you. I even know somebody who used to keep their mobile phone underneath the pillow. You then look at the notifications that have popped up on Twitter, emails, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, switching back to forth, feeding that addiction and getting the drug that you require of social media. Because let's admit it, it is a drug. It's your morning crack, the social media crack we'll call it. Once you've got your fix, you then drag your ass up, hit the coffee and tea, and pop the TV on to catch up on all the world's atrocities that are on the news. Now, does that sound familiar, guys? Am I right? And if that is your habit and you like that habit, that's fine. You do that habit and routine. But that used to be me. I used to drag myself to work thinking how I would love to be back in bed all day. And that was for 5 days per week. Now I'm going to ask you, do you enjoy feeling like that for 5 days per week? And would you prefer to feel more motivated, more energetic in the mornings and throughout the day? So whatever you think about and pour into your mental mind factory, this is what you will think. It sounds so simple. Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they are. And that affects us the most. And it makes perfect sense. And you can change the directory of your day. And this is a morning routine and habits that is really affecting our thinking throughout the day. And how about replacing these habits with more positive, full meaning habits and routines? It's like reading a book, exercise, podcasts, learning something new. You feed your brain the thoughts that you want to think throughout the day. So what do you feed your brain currently, I ask? Do you feed it Facebook statuses and watching cat videos? That isn't really going to help you build the mindset and achieve your dream. Unless your dream is to be the queen and king of cat videos on Facebook, then crack on. So it's a habit that will hold you back, and your habits and your routines will affect your thinking, and then that will influence your thinking towards your dream and working towards your dream. And now you know, when you go to check Facebook for a quick 5 minutes, it never is. Distractions, and it could be half an hour later, you are scrolling through. How else would you prefer to use that time? Like, would you prefer to be doing something meaningful or reading a book that is going to influence you and learning something new? But I also think that kind of quotation of poor thinking habits keeps most people poor kind of resonates with who you spend most of your time with. So who do you currently spend most of your time with, and how do they affect your thinking? Because on average, the 5 people you spend most of your time with, you are the average of. Now, if these 5 people that you spend most of your time with are negative, gossiping, small-minded, and just settling for like an average lifestyle and not willing to push towards their goals, guess what you'll be thinking? Feeding your mind this negative, uninspiring bullshit will leave you thinking, well, uninspiring thoughts and negative thoughts and gossip and being small-minded. It will hold you back. And even if you dream bigger and better goals than kind of the people that you spend your time with, you are still only feeding your mind with damaging thoughts. So you will think them thoughts and you will settle for what they're settling for. Because your mind can only use the ingredients that you pour in it. Would you agree? So if you stop learning and stop educating yourself, well, you're never going to move forward to where you want to be. So guys, switch it up. How about going to find people who are interesting to talk to, have dreams and goals as big as yours, will challenge you and educate you and learn you something new every day. Find someone who is where you want to be. Speak to them and spend time listening to them and what they have to say. And it's really available. You can find this information on podcasts, on videos of YouTube. All the resources are out there for you to do this. And it's the same with your everyday habits. So instead of watching TV for the majority of the time when you have some downtime, why don't you read a book? There's so many books out there, so many motivational books and educational books that will challenge you and open up your mind more than TV. Because we use TV to entertain us. We think, entertain me TV, but we don't actually take it upon us to entertain ourselves and entertain our mind with something useful. And if you can imagine you've got a jug and you're pouring it into a bowl, and if you can imagine the bowl is your mind and the jug contains all the information that you want to learn, if you would start pouring all the motivational, educational and inspiring information into the bowl, that will only result in one thing. If you pour into your mental factory self-development books, podcasts, learning something new and useful every day, spending your time on YouTube learning things and not getting distracted by the cat videos or the dog videos, educational conversations, the vision to achieving your dream, that's all that's required, then what do you think will happen? Will you learn and develop moving forward towards your dreams? So, since I've started doing this and kind of switching just a few habits per day, personally I feel much more alive, much more switched on and happier, because I'm reducing the time that I'm spending my time scrolling through negative, pointless and mind-numbing social media. I try new things, I experience new things, learning about life every single day. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot watch any TV or you can't play on your PlayStation or you can't do the things that you enjoy, but do it, and what I'm saying is do it moderately. Like, when you get in at night, don't spend 4 or 5 hours sat in front of the TV or just before you go to bed, sat in front of the TV watching, I don't know, reality TV, some people arguing about pointless shit. Now, in the morning, I used to watch the news and it was full of murders, terrorism, arguments, car crashes, how I was going to be delayed for work because there was a crash on my route. How do you think my day would turn out? What am I filling my mind full of? Now, if you wanted to bake a cake, think of your favourite cake. Would you put salt in instead of sugar and out-of-date milk into the mix and expect to get your desired result? So why are you treating your mind like this? You know the desired result where you want to be. So why are you putting the wrong ingredients into your mind to build that mindset? What you feed your mind feeds your thoughts. So what do you want to feed your mind so you can think what you want to think? Why would we expect to be successful when we pour into our brains reality TV shows, the drug of social media, the same conversations with friends and gossiping about other people? You know the guy who you see and he doesn't figure out what's right, he figures out what's wrong. The mind is the greatest tool you have. And by influencing our thinking and the thought that the ingredients that we put into our mind, we can change how we think. So you cannot be the guy who doesn't figure out what's right, he figures out what's wrong, because that guy is concentrating on the negative, because he's filling his mind with negative information, negative thoughts. But if you switch and you feed your mind with only positive information, well, what do you think is going to happen? So how do you spend your mornings? Do you think you could reduce the temptation of scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or any social media platform for 10 minutes, looking at other people's lives and not actually focusing on your own life? Could you make that switch and maybe read a motivational book for 10 minutes? How about putting something more productive into your mental factory, like reading a book and taking some quiet time to think? And I get it. It seems so much easier just to wrap the covers around you and lie on your side, just scrolling through your phone. I have that struggle most mornings. I'm not saying that I don't. But I see the benefit, because as soon as I start reading, it's just taking that first step as I start enjoying myself. And I actually start remembering things and have meaningful thoughts pouring into my brain. It kind of ignites my brain. Because if you ever kind of spend some time scrolling through Facebook or when you next do, spend some time after trying to think what you've just seen and what you've just liked, because I guarantee you won't be able to, because you've just seen some pointless information that you really don't give a shit about, because you know you care about yourself and you want to improve yourself. So let's improve ourselves. Now, getting back to the quote, poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Are your habits and routines keeping you poor? And how do your current habits and routines influence your thinking? Have a little think about them, 2 questions that I've just asked you. And it'd be great to kind of hear your answers to them questions. So please head over to Instagram at Millennial Motivation Podcast and drop me a direct message, or drop me an email at millennialmotivationpodcast@hotmail.com, because you deserve to be filling your brain with so much more positive and educational information. We don't have to stop learning and educating ourselves after school, college, university, wherever you left education. You can carry on the self-education because you will learn so much more, I guarantee, in a few months than you learned at school, because you actually care about improving yourself. So have a little think about that. Look at your habits and routines. And even if you just reduce, could you do that? Could you reduce 10 minutes a morning on Facebook and Instagram? Spend 10 minutes a morning reading something motivational and having some time to think to yourself, because you'll see the benefit in the long run. So guys, have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you, millennials, in the next podcast. And remember, your habits and routines work towards your dreams. Thank you for listening to the Millennial Motivation Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you could head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show, as well as leave us a rating, that would be amazing. And if you have any questions, head over to Instagram at Millennial Motivation Podcast and drop me a DM.